Hey y'all, Merry almost Christmas Eve. We're not quite there yet, but it's right around the corner, which brings us to what we're making today. So I feel like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, it's always a topic of discussion as far as what should you make. Last year I did a pizza lasagna that turned out so good, but just a cozy, simple casserole type of meal is what I feel like is the move. So we are doing a creamy Tuscan chicken casserole bake, but we're making everything in the skillet. Super simple, comes together really fast. Though there's a lot of ingredients here, don't freak out. It's all made in a skillet. I swear it's simple. First things first, before getting into the ingredients, we do need to preheat the oven to 375, which I forgot to do. So, all right, on to the ingredients. Okay, to start the Tuscan Chicken Orzo, I've obviously got some chicken right here. I've already diced it up into bite-sized chunks. I just have a pound of chicken. That was 3 chicken breasts I used there. And then a small yellow onion, yellow or white works, whatever one you have. And then 3 cloves of garlic. I'm gonna smash that up once we get cooking. And then orzo. If you guys are like, what the heck is orzo? It basically is a rice-shaped pasta. So if you don't want to use that, you can use just actual rice if you want to make it a little lighter. This works really well with this because we're going for the cozy Christmas feel, and I love that with this. And we're going to cook that in bone broth. Chicken broth or bone broth, whatever one you have, whatever you like. You can use a veggie broth as well if you want. And then we've got a half cup of milk. I'm just using 2%. A 1/3 cup of parm, and then some cream cheese. If you guys recall from last week when we made the cranberry boursin dip, we used 4 ounces of that, which was exactly half this tub. So we are going to use, the recipe says 3 ounces, but I'm just going to use the other half. What's the other ounce going to do? I don't think that's going to kill us. So the rest of that, and then some sun-dried tomatoes. This gives this dish like the Tuscan chicken feel. Love sun-dried tomatoes. We're just gonna cut those up, add those in there, and then our spices is oregano, basil, and some red pepper flakes. Oh, and spinach. There is some kind of crisis happening at the store that I cannot find spinach, not lately. So this is literally all I could find was this gigantic tub. You don't need this much. We're gonna use probably 2 handfuls of this, 2 cups if you wanna measure, but it's gonna wilt down a lot, obviously, as we cook it. So you don't need a lot there. If you really hate spinach, you can just totally skip it, or you can replace it with a vegetable. I think broccoli would go well with this, even zucchini. But again, total preference, that's up to you. I always push things in that direction. That almost took my coffee out. That would have been really bad. I'm shocked that hasn't happened sooner, honestly. Nevertheless, we're gonna go ahead and get the chicken cooking and just start throwing all the things in, and then we'll bake it. Nothing fancy here. I've just got the chicken in a skillet that we're gonna cook for a little bit until almost cooked all the way through, but don't worry about cooking it entirely because it's gonna finish in the oven. All right, this is pretty well cooked, but not all the way, obviously. We've got our chicken hanging out here. I'm just gonna set it to the side. And in that same skillet, just do probably a tablespoon of olive oil. You don't need a lot. We're just gonna heat it up to saute the onion. Throw that in there. All right, you wanna cook the onions just for about 3 minutes, just till they're kind of translucent, and then we're gonna add in our garlic. You don't wanna burn the garlic, as you know, so that's why we're adding it in now, not with the onion right away. This is kind of when we just start dumping stuff. We're gonna saute this for about 2 more minutes. Again, not to cook the garlic, just to get it heated up in there. Would you look at that? It's been 2 minutes. Now we're gonna add a cup of orzo and then 2 cups of bone broth. Once this starts simmering, kind of like a light boil, we're just gonna let it ride for about 5 or 6 minutes till we cook some of the orzo and it absorbs some of the broth. And then we're gonna add in all of the cream cheese and everything else. Shoot, dang, I almost forgot the milk. Okay, all lies, you guys. Add in the milk, then we can wait till the orzo is cooked a little more. All right, that has a light simmer going. We're not gonna add anything else in quite yet, but the sun-dried tomatoes are coming next. So this is what I do because these babies need chopped up anyways, and I think it's a royal pain in the ass to just cut these with a knife because they're kind of slimy with the oil that they're in. So get yourself some scissors and just start cutting. This is the easiest way I know to do it. Yes, they're sitting in oil, but that also has such great flavor. When we go to get these out, I'm just going to use a fork so we can kind of separate the tomatoes from some of that oil. Which, by the way, guys, we're using a 1/2 cup of the sun-dried tomatoes. Use more or less if you want to, but that's probably half this jar is a 1/2 cup, so that's what we're rocking with. It's looking about perfect. It's thicker, but the orzo isn't fully cooked through, which is exactly what we want because, again, it's going to finish in the oven. But let's throw in now the cream cheese, the Parmesan, and then the sun-dried tomatoes that we just diced up. Just while I'm getting everything mixed in here, I went ahead and turned the heat to low because I don't want this orzo to cook anymore or else it's going to dry out when I get it in the oven. But we've got our cheeses and sun-dried tomatoes in there. Then just do a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano and a 1/2 teaspoon of basil. And then, of course, some red pepper flakes if you want them. If not, skip them. Don't forget some salt. And last but not least, throw back in our chicken and 2 handfuls of spinach. This looks like a lot, but if you guys have worked with spinach, you know that this is going to minimize down to nothing. I did add just a little bit more salt in here, by the way. I probably in total did a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and it's looking just a little bit dry as it's been over the heat, as I've been waiting for the spinach to kind of wilt and do its thing. So I'm just going to add a 1/3 cup of water. Just eyeball it. We don't want it to be too dry because, I mean, if it looks a little wet like this, that's fine. We still have yet to bake this for about 15 minutes just to finish off the orzo. So it'll firm up as it cooks in the oven. This is perfect, so we are just gonna toss it in the oven exactly like this. Oh my gosh, that could not look better. And just like that, it's done. Seriously, for how many ingredients it seemed like that was, this was so simple, and honestly, you could shortcut this so easily if you wanted to buy pre-cooked, pre-shredded chicken. I mean, you can get that with like the rotisserie chickens at the store. I'd say that was the most difficult part, was just cutting up and cooking the chicken. But this, like I said, obviously made in one skillet, but if you're taking it somewhere, this is such a great meal to prep. If you want to put it in a baking dish, like a casserole dish, take it to wherever you're going and then nuke it in the oven for like 10 minutes. Because that's basically what we did. That was exactly 12 minutes is how long it was in the oven for. It's not going to be completely dried up because, of course, we still want it a little creamy, which is exactly how it is. And, oh my God, it looks so good. So dish it up. It kind of looks like mush right now, but if you have fresh herbs, which you guys know I do, I love my little dried herbs from Kroger. Throw a little bit of that on top for some greenery and maybe some red pepper flakes if you like those. Which, who doesn't like red pepper flakes? And there you go, Tuscan Chicken Orzo Bake. This recipe easily serves 4, but honestly, 5 or 6 people could probably munch on this. Super simple and convenient for the holidays, especially for Christmas. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas, and I will see y'all, I think, right before New Year's. So until then, enjoy.